This is the expansion that you're going to be doing with this document that you have here. So everybody should be at the point where we've basically created this document as closely as we can. Now we're going to expand this and talk about a few things. We're going to talk about adding pages. We're going to be talking about flowing your text across columns. We're going to talk about wrapping text around your pictures, subheads and headers and subheaders, also using clipping paths, spanning columns, all kinds of stuff. We're also going to talk about putting a quote in there and then using some illustration art. So the first thing we need to do, we have this page done. We've set up with 3 columns. We need to add pages to our document. So I'm going to come up here over to my Pages tab. And I'm going to click on Pages, and it shows me, here's a layout of there's the first document I made. And then I'm going to add more pages. I can either grab them here and drag them down, or I can simply click on the fly down menu and say Insert Pages. Okay? And when I say Insert Pages, it's going to ask me how many pages. How many do we want to insert? 4. So I type 4 after page 1. Yes, we want them to be after. And we're going to talk about master pages later. But right now, just know that it's basing it off of our design that we came up with. So I say OK. And now I get 1, 2, 3, 4. I get all these extra pages that come up. Now, the reason why it flows like this is because I think I have my facing pages turned off, and we want to have that turned back on. So I'm going to come over here to File, and I'm going to go to Document Setup. Yes, and then right here, look, my facing pages was turned off. So if you add pages and you get this same look, then you need to come over here and go to Document Setup under File and say Facing Pages. And then you say OK. And now I can rearrange these. I'll pull him down. Whoops, let me get all these. Should allow me to pull it down. Well, this is not allowing me to pull them down. Yeah, it's not allowing me to flow it. Well, that's a good lesson for us. Let's come back, and we're going to undo. So we come back to our first page. Now let's go back over and let's do our document setup first. Turn on facing pages. Say OK. Now let's add pages and see what happens. Insert pages. We want to insert 4 after the first one. OK. Wow, it's still doing that. Huh. Let me try one more time. Allow document to page shuffle. There we go. Do you want to currently number? Huh. Golly. Well, I got stumped on that one. Allow, select, there we go. So I had to turn on allow selected spreads to shuffle so that it moves 2 pages at a time. So once I turned that on, I was able to get them to shuffle into this order. So now we have our first page, second, third, fourth, and fifth. Okay? And this is just a reflection of that. So you can see your pages there. Okay? All right. So I have my pages built. They're all 3 columns. We're good to go. At this point, because we actually have a document with words that we're going to flow, because in the real life, that's what it's going to be, is either you're going to write it or there'll be an editor who will write that article, and then they'll give you a Word document. Typically, they'll give you a Word document that you'll open and copy and paste and flow all that text into your document. So because of that, what I like to do is instead of starting with the photos, I like to start with text blocks, okay? So I'm going to get the letter T. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can see, and I'm going to start up at my margin. Remember, the margin is this outside magenta line that goes all the way around. That tells you, hey, here's where you need to stop. There are guidelines that allow you to line everything up. So I'm going to go in the upper left-hand corner, and I'm going to click, and now I'm going to drag all the way down to this bottom corner on page 2. And I've got you can see the blinking cursor right up here. That means I've got a big text box right there. So I'm good to go. Then I'm going to come over here to this page, and I'm going to do the same thing on this page. I'm going to click and drag all the way across. So now I have a text box on this page and a text block on this page. I'm going to go to page 3 and 4, do the same thing. I'm building all my text boxes now. And this one is off a little bit. There we go. So now I have all 4 of my text boxes built. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. I'm going to come up here and I'm going to turn on extras. Show link. Oh, so great. I got my text threads on. So now at this point, what I want to do is I want to link these text boxes so that they will flow together. When I zoom in on the bottom right corner of a text box, you'll notice that you have down in the bottom corner, this is just a node that allows you to grab it and change the shape of the text box. Okay, smaller, you can shrink it up or stretch it out. This one that's a little bit bigger and it's above, that is a link box. So if I click on that, I'm telling it, hey, I want to flow copy. If there's any copy that goes over that's too much for this box, I'm going to tell you where to put it now. So I'm going to click on that box, and you notice my icon changes. I get a little arrow in that box, and my icon changes to what looks like a little paragraph. Now I can simply go wherever I want, and I can link it to whatever text column I want to take it to. So I'm just going to come next door here. My cursor has a little chain link on it, and I click. And now you can see the thread that goes from here to here. That's showing that these 2 are linked. So now I'm going to link this one to this page way over here. So I'm going to click on that box. I'm going to come over here, click on this text box, and now these 2 are linked. So now I'm going to grab this last one, click on it, click here. And so now you can see my text thread. It goes 1, 2, 3, 4. Can you guys see that blue line on there? Good. So now I'm ready. Well, I'm almost ready to flow my text. One that we forgot about was the first page. So we want to flow this one as well. So the way I do it is I just simply select on that text box, If you'll come down, you notice when I zoom down, see how this one already has a red plus symbol? That means that there's more copy in this text block than's being shown. It can't show all of it. So if you have that little red plus symbol anywhere on your article, that means you're missing some words. You're not showing everything. So I'm going to simply click on that, and you notice that I get a little kind of, my cursor changes to words. I'm going to back out here, and I'm going to scoot over. I'm going to come all the way over to this first page over here, and I'm going to click. Woo! Look at that. So now I have linked this to this. And look at all that copy that flows over. That's a bunch that was there. Okay? All right. So now, all this copy is in how many columns? How many columns are on this page? 1. The guidelines show 3, but it's 1 column. Look at the copy. It goes all the way across the page. So I need to tell it, hey, you need to turn this into 3 like this one up here. Well, the way I do that is I select it, and then I'm going to come up to the top right here. This little icon. Remember, if you hover over the icon, they tell you what they do. That's my gutter. I can adjust my gutter. This one, it says number of columns. So I want it to be 3. So I click the up arrow. There's 2. There's 3. Now I want to click on this one. As a matter of fact, why not get all of them? So I click on this one, hold the shift key, click on this one, and click on this one. I'm going to change them all to 3 columns. 2, 3. Now I actually have 3 columns on all of my text boxes. 3, 3, 3, 3. They all say 3 right there. All right, so I have my columns set up. Everything's ready to receive the copy. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to go find, there's the article, History of Italian Cuisine. I'm going to open up that article, and it's going to open it up in Word. Okay. From here, all I simply want to do is just, make sure I click anywhere. Oh, it jumped to this. Oh, that was a hot link. So there we go. So I click anywhere on this document. Now I'm going to do a get everything, get all. Command A. And it highlights all of the copy, all of it. Command A gets everything. Now I'm going to copy it. What key do I use to copy? Command C, that's right. So I copy it. Now I'm going to go back to my InDesign, and I'm going to highlight all of these words. Let me zoom in so you can see. I'm going to start here, and I'm going to highlight everything, and I'm going to go all the way up to the top where I made my V. Right there. Now I just simply paste it. Command V. And let's see how far it went. Let's see how far it went. So it filled it from the top all the way down to the bottom. Now that's pretty good. That's probably about right. Because once we get pictures onto here, it's going to push those words around, and it's probably going to flow to all 4 of those pages. So that's perfect right there. So we've copied and pasted down our words. And you can see that's a lot of words there, right? it already has some subheads for us, subtitles. The later Middle Ages, Rome. Okay, so you want to be aware of those and keep your eye. The history. Okay, so we want to be aware of that. All right, so at this point, if we wanted to, we can start getting our photos and laying down some photos. I kind of like these photos. I think they're not too bad. I don't mind them. Okay, I think they work well. But I went to the internet. You're going to go to the internet and you're going to download some high resolution images. And so let's start off with putting some images down. Okay, so typically I would have you do thumbnails. You would find all of your images first, do thumbnails of ideas of what your layouts are going to look like before you start doing this. But this is just simply a drill. So we're kind of working off the fly, off the top of our head. We're not going to plan much out. We're just going to kind of see what happens and make it look good on the fly. So Command D says you want to place something. Great. What do you want to place? I'm going to go get my documents, pictures that I wanted. Here we go. Let's do, how about that lasagna? That's a pretty good lasagna. And I'm going to put a nice big lasagna. And when I place my photographs, I use my columns as guides for me. So I'm going to start at the edge of this gutter, and I'm going to draw a box all the way to this other gutter, to the margin, and let go. So I got a photograph there. Now I'm going to go get another one. That pizza, that's a pretty good pizza looking. So now I'm going to take my pizza, and how about we put the pizza from here? We're going to go all the way across. Big picture of pizza. All the way across. I'm probably going to come back and trim out this pizza, but we'll talk about that later here in just a minute. Let's see what else I have. Pizza, the mozzarella, the meatballs, the lasagna. Ooh, look at that. Some kebabs. Maybe those kebabs live on this page. Start in the gutter. Go all the way across. Some nice kebabs. You get another picture. And then I got a picture of a chef. Now I'm going to bring the chef right there. Okay? He's cooking some Italian food. So now I got some photos laid down and I got some words laid down. Now at this point I can kind of think about what I want to do. So I think what I want to do is I'm going to bring, I like this nice big shot up here of all this food, but I also really like the picture of the chef. So I think I'm going to trade them out. I'm going to bring this one down. I'll bring the chef up here. Maybe he'll be a nice subhead to fly into. Okay. All right. So now let's start massaging the copy a little bit. We've already set our header, and we already have our first subhead. So now I just need to change it. This is the history of Italian cuisine. So I want to show you guys a trick. Because I've already set, let me back out. Because I've already set this font and everything, I like that size. I just need to change this. I'm going to take all the parameters, all the settings for this, and copy it over to here. And the way I do that is I use the eyedropper tool. So I sample, I get the eyedropper tool, I come over here with nothing else selected, and I'm going to sample this text up here. So now it gathers the size, the kerning, the leading, the color, all of that, and it puts it together. And I'm going to come down over the history of Italian cuisine, and I'm going to highlight that and watch what happens. It makes that the exact same size. So now I can copy it or cut it out of there and come up here and replace that. Okay, so I replaced it. It's a little too big, so we need to bump it down a little bit. I'll reduce it down just a little bit till it fits. And you might decide that you like it as one column, just like that. You might decide that you want it bigger. And you might scoot them around a little bit, shuffle them. So I might come over here, grab my picture, grab these, move them down just temporarily. Open up my text box a little bit. And bump over Italian. Highlight that. Maybe I'm going to work with the leading and tighten it up a bit. And maybe instead of it being centered, now I want it to be, I need optical on, I want it to be flush left. That works pretty good. Maybe make it even bigger. I like filling up space. Let's make our leading a little bit bigger to get that off of there. There we go. That's a nice big header. Do not be afraid of going big. Do not be afraid of that. Okay? So that looks pretty good. Now all I have to do is scoot these words down a little bit. And you can arrange this however you want. You don't need to copy what I'm doing. You can do it however you want. Okay? So I think that fits. A tour of Italy, everyone will enjoy. I like that subhead. I'm going to leave it. It works with the article because the article is about different places in Italy. So that works. It's like taking a tour around Italy. So now I want to make this stand out as a header. I highlight it. It's a subheader, actually. So I'm going to come and change the font. Right now it's a Minion Pro. I'm not a big fan of Minion Pro. How about we change that up? Let's take a look at something with a boldness to it. Maybe make it a little bit bigger to fill that space. Stands out a little bit. So now the key to doing articles like this is you want to make sure things are consistent. So if I'm going to do that, and I like that, then I need to find all my other ones, like Rome, and I need to make it exactly the same. And I showed you the easiest way to make it exactly the same is to get the eyedropper, sample it, come right back where you want with that eyedropper, and now highlight it. And it makes it exactly the same. That's the easy way to do it. Okay?